Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. And I'm Dr. Smith from Accomplished Health and Wellness here in Lawrence, and Heather is kind of off of our screen. But this is Heather Fiore from Free State Nutrition here in Lawrence too. And today, our tea for today. So this tea is by Lipton, and it's actually, I did a mixture. It's green tea, and it's with white mangosteen and peach. So that's one. And then I mixed it with chamomile tea. So I thought I would just tell you guys a little bit about chamomile. Apparently, you shouldn't drink chamomile when you're pregnant because it can cause uterine contractions. We don't want that when you're pregnant.
Unless you do. What if you're like 9 months?
Unless you're like at the end.
Then
Yeah.
Like, give me some chamomile.
Get you some, if your cervix is favorable, drink you some chamomile because that might help you go along into labor. There you go. So, 38 weeks and on, you can drink your chamomile. What do you think?
It's interesting. It's good.
Do you know, it kind of tastes like okay, I'm not a beer fan, but this has a beery taste.
Really? I don't know if I
Yes,
got that. Let me try again.
Yeah. It's like a beer undertone.
Okay.
Do you taste the beerness in it?
I think I know what you're getting at.
I'm not sure, but I don't like beer, but that's what I would when I taste it, I taste that beer undertone. Anyways, I'll probably still drink it. I'm sure I won't get tipsy. No, just kidding. So anyways, some other things about chamomile. Chamomile is soothing, and it's a sedative. So you're not supposed to drink it while you're driving or operating heavy machinery. It's also an anti-inflammatory. It can help with allergies. It's anti-allergenic. It's also a pain reliever. That's kind of cool. And it disinfects, and it also helps with depression a little bit, mild antidepressant. So you can use that in teas and oils and some other things, I think, too. You can also just put it in your food. I believe that it's it has some flavonoids in it or something, and you can put it in your food.
Very cool.
Where did it go? Chinese cabbage. This is my healing plants book. So anyways, today let me just look up that chamomile thing that I was telling you. And then today we are going to talk about the DASH diet and maybe a little bit into the Mediterranean diet, right? We haven't quite decided, but we'll see how far we get. Yeah, it has, let's see, the flowers are used for food flavoring in, I don't even know what that is. What is that? Tisanes? I don't know.
Never heard of that.
Perfumes and cosmetics. It's probably some kind of tincture. And then it's used in caplets or as a table supplement and as an essential oil. Now you guys know. All right, so that's our chamomile. I have no idea about mangosteen, but peach is good. So we were going to talk about the DASH diet. And the DASH diet stands for Dietary Approach to Stop Hypertension, right? So that's why it was created, to lower blood pressure. There's actually this great website. I can put it on our little comment section if you guys want me to. And it actually had a bunch of information about the DASH diet, but it had it's this group for cardiovascular health and hypertension and diabetes or something. And they actually did a bunch of studies with the DASH diet, and they changed the sodium amount to see what that would do. They changed actually substituting carbohydrate, 10% carbohydrate and 10% protein into the diet. They also did the DASH diet with counseling, the DASH diet alone, and then the DASH diet with counseling and a meal plan.
Okay.
And then they followed each group had a different number. I think that last one with the counseling and the meal plan and stuff had like almost 900 participants. And then they looked to see like what was most beneficial.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to read actually. So
it's well researched.
It is, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the DASH diet is ranks really high among like the healthiest diets.
Yes.
In 2018, and it has been in the running for the last couple of years. So, but one thing that they found, the average American salt intake is like 3,600 milligrams, which is kind of a lot.
That's a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so what they did in this one study was they decreased the sodium content they did three arms. One was 3,300, one was 2,300, and one was 1,500 milligrams.
Okay.
And so what they found was, no surprise, any reduction in your sodium actually with the DASH diet benefited everyone with high blood pressure. And then what they found was that the people with the highest blood pressure in all of the arms actually had the biggest benefit. Mm-hmm. In all of the arms.
Sense.
Yeah. And then the 1,500 milligram sodium was like the most benefit. So the other thing is that DASH diet, in it talks about hypertension, but really you can also use it to lose weight. Mm-hmm. Although the studies for like the diet wasn't created for that, right? But you can use it for that, and people lose weight on it. And then you can also improve your insulin resistance. Mm-hmm. So, all good things.
Yeah, definitely. So, targeting blood pressure, which is a major problem in our country, but also great for diabetes and managing weight. So
and in some of those studies that they were looking at, I think when they changed, there was one that they actually looked at like high carb amount with high glycemic index, high carb amount with low glycemic index, and then low carb amount with high glycemic index and low carb amount with low glycemic index. And actually what they found was that they didn't lose weight. They were surprised at the glycemic index did not actually play a big role in the weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's kind of good news, honestly, because like glycemic index is kind of a weird thing, and it sounds straightforward, like, oh, these are your low glycemic foods and these are high glycemic foods, but we eat foods in combination,
right?
And so it's a lot more complicated than just like eating this list of foods or whatever,
right?
It's like, how do you eat a low glycemic diet, like,
right? Well, and then like some of the ones that are higher glycemic index, they have other things that provide, different nutrients. And so why do you want, it's still a vegetable.
Right, you don't want to label it as like, oh, don't
that vegetable is bad.
Yeah, carrots are no good for you. High glycemic index. Forget the fact that they have a low glycemic load. So that's the other part of it, right? It's not just the index, but then the load of carbohydrate.
Like there's not a big amount of carbs in it.
Yes, and so it will not have a big impact unless you eat a lot of carrots.
So how does that work, actually? Like your glycemic index and your carb load. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think there's like an actual calculation you can do with like knowing what the index is and then the number of like grams of carbohydrate or I don't think it's sugar. I think it's actual like all carbohydrate in the amount you're going to eat. To then get your this is like the recesses of my brain here. There's another word for like what that equals.
Oh, okay.
And that's really the most useful thing.
The end.
The X thing.
What comes after the equal.
Yeah, that part is really what is going to dictate, what your blood sugar does, for example.
Okay.
After eating the food.
Okay.
So, it's complicated.
Yeah.
But, the simplest way to try to eat a low glycemic diet is to eat lots of fiber, to combine protein and fiber with your carbohydrate.
Right.
To eat beans and fruits and vegetables.
If you eat fat in there too? Like, doesn't
yes.
fat also buffer the way sugars are absorbed in your body?
Yes. So coupling your carbohydrate with some protein, with some fiber, or with some fat, or all three of those things will change how your body responds to the sugar, right?
Okay.
Like if you drink orange juice,
Mhm.
that's great if your blood sugar is low
Mhm.
because it brings it up really fast. But if your blood sugar is not low, juice is not like a great
Yeah.
idea because
Yeah.
there's nothing buffering. It's just straight up sugar. It goes right into your bloodstream really fast.
Right. So we don't want that.
It's not ideal.
No. So, all right. So we are going to you're going to tell us about the DASH diet.
Yeah.
So, like, what's in it?
What's
what
in
do
it
they want?
and what's not in it. And
Right.
it's a pretty
Healthy diet.
it's a healthy diet, and I mean, to be honest, it's not like super sexy or exciting,
Right.
You know, like it's really successful and it's really, you know, rated well and well studied and all this stuff. But nobody talks about it because it's not exciting.
No.
There's no like, you know, tricks and whatever
No.
about it. So the thing that you want to eat in the DASH diet, it really emphasizes fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
Duh.
Right.
Whole grains, legumes, low-fat dairy, and I wonder if like the research is going to
Change with the low
change,
fat dairy.
and it's
Mhm.
going to just be like higher fat dairy.
Yeah, like normal fat dairy, like full fat dairy
Right.
or whatever.
But for now, it's low-fat dairy,
Mhm.
and then you've got fish and poultry. You've got nuts and seeds, and so those are all the things that like you want to eat. You want to
Anyway.
make sure are like, you know, regular parts of your diet.
Right.
And then you want to be careful about sodium, obviously. That was like the
Right.
big thing. So
Yes.
you want to limit your sodium. You also want to limit added sugars, and then like sugar sweetened drinks, obviously, just like
Right.
the way I described the juice there. Same goes for
Right.
any drink that has sugar in it. You want to like kind of watch how much fat you have, and red meat. Red meat is sort of called out as like you should watch how much of that
You
you have.
should not eat the red meat.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, the red meat that mostly everyone eats is not the healthiest red meat anyway. So
And I'm sure
probably we shouldn't be eating that.
And that's probably what they studied.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
that's why they had that recommendation.
Yeah.
Because like conventionally grown beef, like we've talked about before, you know.
So
Okay.
there's from what I was understanding, there's DASH diet, which is like just the normal DASH diet, and then there's low sodium DASH diet, which I think is the sodium less than 1,500 milligrams,
Right.
which that's like no salt at all, right?
It really is hard to do that. So you're
Yeah.
talking like no processed food.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Do you know like the worst thing so holidays for so people that have congestive heart failure should follow the DASH diet because of the low sodium.
Mhm.
So the holidays, everyone that has congestive heart failure, don't eat the ham. Don't eat the gravy.
mhm.
It's really salty. You're gonna not breathe the next day.
Mhm.
Okay? That's just how it is. Hot dogs, Campbell's soup. I'm sorry to pick on Campbell's, but Campbell's soup, that's really good if you're vomiting and diarrheaing, but not so much if you have heart disease. It's pretty salty.
Yeah. So, but generally,
But they have the
things,
heart
right?
healthy or
They
the low
do.
sodium.
They do. Like you can find things that come in packages that
Yeah.
have less salt, but like in general, that's where your salt is going to come from,
Yeah.
or from like eating out, of course, right?
Oh gosh.
Fast food or even regular restaurants.
Yeah.
Like they put a lot of salt in the food
yeah. It tastes good.
to make it taste good because they want you to come back and eat
And
it
then,
again.
you drink all night water all night or
That's interesting.
whatever other things they want you to drink because they loaded your food with salt.
Right, and then you're all puffy.
Yeah, I always have that problem also with, I love Chinese food, but I can't eat it all the time. I can't eat it that often because I'm
Mhm.
like guzzling water the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a part of the DASH diet.
No, so like the big key to getting all those foods that we mentioned in, and the stuff, limiting the other stuff is by preparing your own food.
Right.
So that is the part that's probably really tough for people, is that it really requires you to
Plan.
to make your own stuff and then not use a lot of salt in cooking. And usually that's not as hard for people as all the hidden salt.
Yeah. Yeah, all the hidden salt. So, I found on the Mayo website, there you can just Google DASH diet, and actually on the Mayo website they have like a 1 week meal plan, I think it is.
Yes.
And it's like just an example of what you can do. And it looked pretty healthy. And then there was another website, the Dash Diet something, and it had another meal plan that you could follow. And if you were really wanting to, I found that in my reading and learning that when you followed a meal plan, so the most successful people with this are when they follow the meal plan, number one, when they add in exercise, right? So so the current recommendation is to have at least 30 to 60 minutes of moderately intense exercise on most days of the week. Are you ready to do it?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
She's good. I can too, actually. I have to really work at it, and sometimes it's tricky. But for most days of the week, I can somehow figure out to get 30 minutes of exercise, moderate intensity exercise. And I'm a single mom of 3, so if I can do it, you can do it, and she can do it, you can do it. So she's like a kickboxer instructor. Yeah, did you know that? You can join her at Planet Fitness, right?
No, Genesis.
Genesis
South.
Genesis.
Friday
over
morning,
here,
Fight
right?
Club.
Right down there.
Well, that's north right there, but south is the one that's like at the edge of
know where
town.
south is.
I know. There's no reason you would go there unless that's where you're going. Like it's not on the way to anything.
Is it like way over there on the other side of Checkers?
No, it's way out like southwest. Like yeah.
Oh,
the only thing it's
by
near
by the soccer
yes,
field.
Okay. It's
yeah,
near the
that is kind
youth
of a
sports
weird place.
complex.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Drop your kids at soccer and go kickbox.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you do, right? Kickbox.
I do.
Yeah, or is it the fit?
It's called group fight.
Oh, that's fun.
But it is kickboxing.
So what is this over here?
Right. So that is a really key part, is that the DASH diet is recommended to do along with regular physical activity. Like you're going to be more successful at it with your blood pressure and just in general with
heart health
activity.
and whatever.
Yeah.
So you can't just do it alone.
Right. I think we'll at least find something to put in the comments of our thing here with a sample meal plan, because those are the things that I have too. It's like a really simple thing, and it just tells you like how many servings from each food group you're trying to have, and then translates that to like, this is what that looks like in a day. Here's how you might do that. Here's how you're going to get your 2 to 3 servings of dairy. Here's how you're going to get 4 to 5 pieces of fruit and 4 to 5 servings of vegetables. Like, you have to eat them all day long. You know, like you can't just eat your vegetables at dinner.
You can't munch on chips. You gotta eat the veg. You gotta munch on.
Well, if you eat the chips, you're gonna go over on your sodium probably.
Oh yeah, like a handful.
Yeah, it's not gonna take much.
Yeah, like 5 Doritos and you're done.
Yes, that is your 1,500 right there. Not quite, but
pretty cool.
But yeah, so you can't just eat vegetables at dinner and think, oh, I'm eating vegetables every day, I'm doing great. And really, compared to most people, you would be doing great. But to really hit the recommendation, you have to eat them in each meal. Maybe not breakfast, but lunch and dinner, and maybe even one of your snacks, unless your dinner is like really loaded with vegetables.
I'm looking at this meal plan that they have, and it's like a banana and half a grapefruit. I can't do grapefruit. I wish I could. I'd have to load that puppy up with sugar.
Yeah, it's not for me.
I cannot. I could maybe do an orange, half an orange. But that's like that's way more fruit than I would do in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, in a breakfast.
Right, at once.
And then vegetables, carrots and celery, radishes. Oh, is this like a sandwich?
No, I think you're just eating it. It's just a raw vegetable medley, it says. So you got some lettuce,
Yeah.
I mean, you could make it a salad, or you could just eat
or
it
you
with
can
some-
shove it in that pita bread and make it a sandwich with your turkey and whatever.
Yes.
And then the snack is dried apricot. I'm surprised at that because I thought dried fruit has a lot more sugar.
Well, I think it depends.
Yeah.
Like some dried fruits don't have added sugar. They're just, it might be more concentrated, like raisins versus grapes, right? Just because,
Sure.
15 grapes is a serving, and like who eats 15 raisins?
Right. I don't even count them.
No, no, of course you don't.
I pour them in my hand and I eat
Yeah,
them.
of course.
And then what's this for dinner? Broccoli, spinach, cherry tomato. So you have a little salad. And,
Spinach salad.
yeah, with some dressing and
Yeah.
some broccoli. See, that sounds like something I would eat at dinner. For sure.
And it's totally doable. But part of what they're showing here, because they've got like the fruit cocktail and they've got your dried fruit, like they're showing you that like you don't all have to eat fresh fruits and vegetables all day long. Like it can be frozen. Canned is a little tricky because you have to watch the sodium content, but you could get a low sodium canned vegetable. But canned fruit, you have to watch the amount of sugar in the syrup but they make light syrup and they make them canned in juice.
Right.
So that's doable. And then frozen works really well because, at this rate, nothing's going to go bad because we're eating so many servings every day. But, that way it's not wasted. You get a big bag and you take what you're going to eat and you prepare it. You don't have to.
Well, that's, I think, the big thing is you're going to have to prepare.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's not a grab and go kind of a diet. But I think once you get used to it, then it can be.
Right. And there's ways to make it doable for you, right?
Yeah.
Like you can get things that are simple, like eating, raw, like a salad is a lot easier to do than feeling like, oh, I have to like cook up vegetables all the time. Like, you can just grab some carrots and some celery.
Right.
Maybe some radishes and call it a,
call it a meal.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So we will put in the comments, if we can, this little handout. I like that handout. But then I'll try to put that link on the Mayo website because they actually have like a couple-day meal plan if you wanted to just kind of see what it was about. And then for all of you like science, nutrition nerds like me that like to read studies, I'll put a link to that one website that shows like all the different studies that they've done with the DASH diet. And I think there's some other information on there, just like on how to do the DASH diet. And it's just very knowledgeable. And then you guys can pick and choose what you would like to learn from, all of it, one of it, a couple of it, whatever. We're just happy that you're learning. And then we're running out of time. So why don't we do the Mediterranean diet next time?
Yeah.
I like the Mediterranean diet. I wish I could do that one. It's I think it's more expensive. Yeah, the seafood.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that.
And then, hey, maybe we can also talk about, how you might need a Geiger counter for your seafood.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or like which seafoods are better.
Yeah, that makes sense to put those two things together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to talk about that next week on Tuesday. And so if you guys have any questions, you know the drill, just ask and we will get back to you. And we hope that you have a good rest of your week and, enjoy some hoppy tea. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye.